So a while ago, I installed a chopper kit on my 2008 Honda Shadow Aero 750, and ever since then, this factory Aero wheel doesn't quite seem big enough, now does it? So today, we're going to be swapping over to this 21-inch Spirit wheel, and don't ask me how much I paid for this new old stock 2008 freaking wheel, because that's the only one I could find in the country. So, I got you on the chest rig today, so hopefully the camera angle works out, and let's go ahead and swap this thing over. First thing we did is we jacked up the bike, we secured it. The driveway is sloped, so this is going to be a little sketchy, but I think if we're careful, we should be fine. All right, so first thing we're going to do is going to try to straighten this wheel out and not jar this bike around too much. We're going to go ahead and get this bobber fender out of the way. This is the Blue Collar Bobbers fender, and they do an excellent job. They're excellent people. They make excellent products. I wish they'd send me like a coupon code or something, but they barely even know I exist. All right, we're going to take a 13 millimeter. We're going to try not to shake the bike. I am super nervous about doing this because it's pretty much, I mean, you guys can kind of see that's sketchy. We're going to be careful. I'm trying to keep you guys in frame. If I don't, I apologize. All right. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. These forks need to be polished. We're going to do that eventually. Just not today, because I'm really itching to get this wheel on. All right, 4 bolts loose. Pull this fender out. We'll set it over here in the grass to the side. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take 2 of these bolts. There's a little bracket here that supports the brake line. So what we're going to do, go ahead and run 2 bolts back in there just to make sure that stays put, doesn't get in our way. I'm going to drop a bolt, but we'll find it here in a second. There it is. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these in the forks, in the lowers, so they don't get lost, so we don't lose them. Because my toxic flaw is I put things down and then my brain they just don't exist anymore. So all right, that's out of the way. Go ahead and turn this a little straight, or turn her back again, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this caliper out of the way. And I just realized that I got to take this bracket back off because I'm going to move this whole thing and set it over to the side. So we're going to take these back out. We're going to set those over here this time. You guys remember where they are in case I forget. Then we're going to grab a 12 millimeter. We're going to go ahead and remove this brake caliper. Wiggle that caliper out of the way. Actually, those bolts can go in here. Get them down just like so. We're just going to set that guy right there where it's safe and hopefully won't fall. All right, next up on the agenda is we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this nut loose here, which I guess you can call that the axle nut. That is going to be a 22 millimeter. I'll grab my 1/2-inch drive ratchet, 22 millimeter socket. Try not to jostle the bike too much, and the reason we want to do this now is because these pinch bolts are still holding the axle in place. Otherwise, this thing might just spin around on us. And I have had this front wheel off before, but I'd also like to remind you guys at this point that I'm not a mechanic. I never claimed to be. Do anything to your bike at your own risk. I'm not responsible. All right, so now this guy's loose. I'm just going to leave that there for the moment. Now we're going to take a 6 millimeter Allen, loosen these pinch bolts. There's 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. I'm going to try to do this without the bike flopping around, because I'm trying to hold the bike steady while I'm doing this. If you had an actual lift, or were smarter than I was, this might be an easier time for you. The other side, break her loose, just like so. I don't remember if I have to take these all the way out. Make sure they're nice and loose on each side. So now what we're going to do Try to be very, very careful here. Let's go ahead and loosen this guy up. It's probably right about, I'm going to drop it first. I'm going to loosen it up, tighten it to where we got a couple screws in there. What I'm going to do is take my trusty calibrated banging device. I'm going to pop that to the left. And on the left side of the bike, we're going to grab a Phillips head screwdriver. Jam her in the holes right here, kind of support the tire. Again, remember to take the bolt out on the left side. And then hold the wheel and just kind of scoot this back and forth. There's a spacer on each side, so be aware and be careful. Just gonna kind of wiggle her loose, just like so. There's our axle. There's our wheel. This is the right side spacer. So we're gonna set this on the right side of the bike. This is our left side spacer. We're going to do the same thing. Set this guy on the left side. And roll this wheel to the side. So now, if you notice, my Spirit wheel doesn't have the brake rotor on it. So we're going to have to pull that off the Aero wheel and put it on this one. Alright, so what we're going to do here is going to take our trusty 6mm. Try to break some of these bolts loose. Might need the persuader. There's one. Two. Three. Four. Five. And 6. Go ahead and spin those guys off of there. Alright, we got our bolts loose. No, we didn't. We missed one. Take the last bolt out and bam, there's our brake rotor. So now we take our Aero wheel, just set it off to the side. Alright, we're going to go ahead and install this on our Spirit wheel. I'm going to do that here in the grass because I don't want to scratch up this nice factory OEM wheel. The Aero one I wasn't concerned about because that one has been in use since 2008. This one has not. So I'm going to add a little bit of Loctite on that one. Should probably be using red, but I don't have any. Blue should work just fine, because we are going to tighten these as much as we can without stressing them. Again, I am not a mechanic. Please feel free to let me know that I'm doing it wrong in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and hand tight each one of these, little crisscross pattern. I'm going to go boom, 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 boom. Kind of like tightening lug nuts on a wheel. We're going to come back with our socket. Snug them down. All right, that should do her. Right, now this is the part where the wrap breaks down. It gets real intense. Something about not making a sound. I don't know. All right, so now we got our Spirit wheel with the brake rotor on. What we're going to do is take our wheel spacers. Hopefully these work because I did not check. That's the left side. That is, get that little leaf out of there. That is the right side. Slide her in place. Take our axle. Oh, our spacer moved on us. Get him back in there where he's supposed to be. Take our axle. Get it staged and ready. Gotta support the wheel. Get her lined up. Oh my gosh, triple's turning. It's probably easier with a second set of hands, or if you know what you're doing. But if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be watching my video. I remember this part was the pain in the butt last time I took the front wheel off. Trying to get this side lined up is being a booger. But we were able to get her. Look at that. All right. Just going to tap that as far as we can. Get our axle nut. Snug her back down, just like so. I need to lose some weight because I'm breathing way too heavy for this. I'm going to go ahead and grab our 20 millimeter. I'm going to go ahead and snug it like so. And then taking our 6 millimeter Allen, we're going to go ahead and tighten these little fellas down right now. Nice even pressure. One side at a time. Just like so. Snug it down using the finest calibrated guessing that I can do. Again, I am not a mechanic. Do so at your own risk. I'm not responsible if something bad happens. Snug that down. Grab our 22 millimeter again, and we can do this with the bike on the ground as well. Just gonna snug that down, good and tight. I think that'll do her. Let's go ahead and get the caliper lined up. As long as Honda didn't change anything on the lower forks, I know between the Aero and the Spirit, I know the fender mounts are different. Hopefully the the brake rotor and the rotor's the same, so the caliper should be the same, right? I mean, I did some research, and it was pretty much just basically guys on the internet groups like, oh yeah, here's a picture, man, I swapped it out, it's cool. It's like, all right, sweet, I guess it works. That looks like it will do the trick. Take my 12 mil, snug her down good and tight. Just like so. Snug her down just like so. Nice tight. We're gonna take, you gotta get this brake line bracket up there, but I want to check something first. I've seen pictures of guys use the factory Aero fender. I'm wondering if this blue collar bobber's fender, that looks funky. That looks a little, because the fender is so much wider, you know what, that looks a little funky. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that off for now. And I may end up having to buy the Spirit fender and maybe use the Aero brackets and somehow make those work. All right, so let's go ahead and take our fender bolts. We'll go ahead and drop one, and then we'll use the other one to go ahead and start to secure the brake line bracket. Do the same, the other one down there. Those were a 13 millimeter. Down like so, down like so. Go ahead and go to the other side. Torque that down. It's essentially done. I do want to figure out something with the front fender. I gotta get all that blue junk off and just in general get the bike cleaned up, but that's pretty much what it looks like. If you ask me, that's one heck of a difference. So Yeah, nothing left to do but take it around the block, make sure the front end doesn't fall off, because I worked on this myself, so that's always a possibility. All right, without going too far, just kind of like a quick little jaunt, you know, a couple miles around the old neighborhood. And it's tracking pretty good. I'm not noticing any kind of difference in the front end. It actually feels like it did with the big old fat tire on there. And if you guys are curious exactly what I think about this pretty awesome chopper kit, you can check this video out right here. And as always, y'all be good. See ya.